Hello, so I've been asked a couple of times to explain how this simple relog porter that I showed off on Reddit works exactly, and I'm gonna try my best and explain really quickly but thoroughly how this thing works. So the default state when there's no Perl in here you can see right now, and I'm gonna use my other account to throw in an inner Perl so that I can show you what happens when you relog. So to use it, you just stand on the honey, crouch, throw a Perl, make sure to walk up all the way against the chain, and it should work pretty reliable. Shout out to Squibble, who showed me that if you use a chain, you can make throwing the ender pearl in there pretty reliable. Now what you can see is the ender pearl is bouncing up and down, occasionally triggering the tripwire until it kind of settles and triggers the tripwire most of the time. And that keeps this fader here active. No matter how high it bounces out of the tripwire, it will never turn this fader here off, which means that this node block will keep powered. The observer here will only detect if the node block gets unpowered at any moment. It does not change if the power level which it gets powered with changes. So this dispenser down here that has a bucket in it, this will never get triggered. Now, if I log off with the other account, then you can see the following. The Perl disappears and both faders start to slowly lose power, but the left fader lost power more quickly than the right fader, so it removed the water, then the right fader lost power too, and repowered the node block, so the dispenser triggered again, and we have water back. If I now log in with my second account again, the Perl will just continue to stay in the water as if nothing ever happened. But if I now use my second account to disconnect and reconnect while the right fader still has power, then I will get teleported because then there's no water in there. So I disconnect, water disappears after a short amount of time. Now I can reconnect to teleport, and I get teleported back there. So yeah, that's how the whole thing, oops, I activated the tripwire. That's how the whole thing works. And we can watch the whole thing again, the whole sequence again in slow motion. Let me just throw another Perl in there. I did not crouch, so I teleported to the ground. If that happens, it's not a problem. Just wait for a short while until the second fader fires and the water is redispensed. And now we can try again. We need to crouch. And there we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the tick speed. Its tick rate in vanilla to 5, so it runs at a fourth of the speed, so we can observe what happens. And then I'm gonna log out. So the player is now gone, and now this fader here starts losing power pretty quickly, and the node block gets unpowered, triggering the observer, and the water gets taken away. If I relog now, I get ported to the ground. If I wait a bit more, then the other fader starts to lose power as well, and the torch will turn back on. Right about now. So the observer detects that, triggers again, redispenses the water, and if I relog now, I'm safe and I will not get teleported. So the time that the fader on the right here stays on longer than the fader on the left, that's the time frame that you have to relog and get teleported. And as I stated on the Reddit post, it's very important that the whole contraption here stays loaded, either by a chunk loader or by being put in the world spawn chunks. So it gets processed. If you do this and don't have it in a loaded chunk, the Perl only keeps it loaded while it's in there, so it will never register that you even logged out. Yeah, that's it. I hope I could explain a bit more how this works, show it off. I hope the slow motion worked a bit to understand. And if you have further questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Bye for now.